All right. truth. If you'd only let me lose, if you told me what you need. Should you take me from this darkness left inside? Left inside. Left inside. Hiding right in plain sight with that pathetic.
They did a redacted today. I don't see it posted yet. Resident Evil 2. Isn't that like a super old game? I played like on Resident Evil like 6 and 7 and shit like that. They're doing remakes of video games now. Nice. We did that one. Did that one. Oh yeah, we did that one too. Minion said he was moving last week, so he's obviously not moved yet. Otherwise he would have one today. Wow. Last cast we did that. Man, it's gonna be real short news tonight. Oh, we got Board Gamer. Got 2 from New. Nothing from home base there. No new lore videos. So wow, yeah, we got Bored in the New. That's it. We got the 2 heavy hitters. That's it. Okay. We could talk about something with my website. Open that up for discussion. If I should just make it part of Twister Gaming, or should I like name it like Star Citizen Gaming like I was gonna do, or newsstarcitizen.com? Should I just like forget that idea altogether because it's using the Star Citizen name? That's something I was thinking about like all day today.
She calls a man on the phone and says
Yeah, just leave it the way it is for now. Man, I'm really not trying to hurt nobody with my website here. I wonder if lore makers have come up with some video. The official lore makers. On these nights that we need like news filler, because there's not much news to cover, we should probably be doing these lore videos. Because when else are we going to have time to watch these lore videos? Not when the game's already released. Nobody's going to want to watch it then. Lore Maker's Guide, Transit System, Transit. Oh, these are about 11 minutes for this one.
It's an A-type main sequence star, also known as a dwarf star. In general, there's so much rocks and asteroids and stuff floating around the system.
I don't think I like the haircut on this guy.
To
kind of weird.
Do quantum travel.
Okay. Let's see how long this one is.
They have a very different relationship with
14.
history. That's why it might be their home world, because they're like, there has to be a reason why they're having it here. So maybe that's it.
What do you think? Should we do some a couple lore videos tonight? Start squeezing in some lore on the nights where we don't have a lot of news to cover. So we'll squeeze in like about a half hour of lore and do like another half hour with board new video, and then we'll do the gameplay tonight. I think that sounds good. I'm driving. I'm not driving. It's in my chair. Alright, so we got 22 minutes. Not sure. I will put this over here. We'll have it. Or videos with. Got this game Palladians. I never played it. I bought it and I never played it. Got X4 too, Foundations. Started figuring that out. Adventures of Van Helsing, Far Cry. Dreadnought, I didn't like that. Didn't like that one. That Dreadnought wasn't good. Divinity's good though. I just don't know if people would enjoy watching it though. Mech Warriors.
Achieved with CryEngine.
After the storm, in a new light, there is a bridge not far away, where all this was born, and out of the night, every soul has come to life. my life, a life with a bitter taste. Am I condemned to waste? Show me my mistakes, and face me with my fate. I assume that my life is doomed. I'll surrender my defy. I will surrender until the day I die. I will surrender while I'm still breathing. I will surrender while my heart is beating. Time goes by, but I still try. I'll keep my head up. I will never stop. Show me my mistakes, and face me with my fate. I assume that my life is doomed. I'll surrender my defy. I will surrender until the day I die. I will surrender while I'm still breathing. I will surrender while my heart is beating. Even if it costs my life, even if it's the hardest fight. And I swear I will try until the day I die. I won't surrender, I defy. I won't surrender until the day I die. I won't surrender, I defy. I won't surrender until the day I die. While I'm still breathing, I will surrender while my heart is beating. Nothing's left, nothing's to lose. Even in these chains, you can stop me.
Alright, we're doing the Kellogg system, starting out with the lore. I have my mic
Hello
muted.
and welcome to another edition of Lore Maker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'm your host for today, Lore Maker Will Weisbaum, your third favorite lore maker. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Kellogg system, which is quite exciting, and it's the best system to start your day off with. So let's go ahead and do a search. Oh, let's do a route actually. Let's go from Earth all the way to Kellogg. Get that going. And today I'm going to be taking my Herald, so we're going to go small. Let's calculate the route. 10 jumps or 5 jumps? 5 jumps, please. Safety be damned. I'm going to view that route. So we're exiting out of Sol. Going to hop on through Crowshaw, zip on through Null, cross through Vega. Oh, those poor people. End up in Virgil, which is a military classified. I'm starting to rethink taking the shortest route. And then from there, we're going to jump on through the Kellogg jump point. Wow. And here we are. Welcome to the Kellogg system. Starting off, it is a UE developing system, and it's protected by the Fair Chance Act. For those of you who don't know, the Fair Chance Act is an initiative started to protect planets that have sapient or sentient species developing on them, and it's to make sure that they're allowed to grow and not interfered with. This came about after a world was terraformed, after it was discovered that it had a developing culture on it and they were completely wiped out. So now the UE goes out of their way to protect those developing systems, and the Fair Chance Act is the way they do it. So the whole system is considered protective. The star at the center is a G-type main sequence yellow dwarf star. Ooh. And there are 6 planets in Kellogg, and the system is around 33 AU. And we got a green band, fairly small compared to how big the system is, at 0.9 AU, and it goes all the way out to 1.3 AU. So there you go. And the main focus of the system, what really gets people excited about Kellogg, are probably its 2 inhabited worlds, which are Zeiss over here, which is the main focus of the Fair Chance Act. That is where our developing species is. We'll talk more about that. And then all the way out here, we have Quarterdeck, which is the infamous prison planet. And so between those two, that's the main heart of the system. But before we dive into that, we're going to take a look through the rest of the system. So let's start over here at Kellogg 1. This little red guy you can see in the map, it's all red and burning hot because it's so close to the sun that its entire surface is molten lava. And it is a terrestrial lava planet, and what ends up happening is it has these huge eruptions, and they're so violent that stuff actually makes it like high up into the atmosphere, and depending on the rotation of the planet, sometimes they can form into cool off rapidly and form these rock debris, or you could have basically lava rainstorms coming down on you. So it is a very dangerous planet to visit. The whole system overall was discovered in 2811 by a NAB jumper named Paddock Cohen, and he had dedicated his life to the discovery of new systems. This was the only one he managed to do, and it was towards the end of his career, and his dream was always to settle down in a system that he discovered. And unfortunately, that wasn't meant to be the case here. Because of it becoming part of the Fair Chance Act, he was not allowed to live in the system, even though he petitioned to be able to do so. What finally sealed the deal, though, was that he was able to name the system Kellogg after his former mentor and partner who had passed away shortly before the discovery. So it's named in honor of them, which is quite a touching tribute, I think. So while he didn't get to live there, at least he got to do that. Now we looked at Kellogg 1. Kellogg 3 is over here. Now this is a smog planet. It is uninhabitable in its current state, and it won't be terraformed because of the Fair Chance Act. Out of all the worlds, it's the most neglected because, you know, at least between Zeiss and Quarterdeck, you have those, and then Kellogg 5 has its own thing going, and Kellogg 4, but Kellogg 3, nothing really going on. So this is the one favored out of all of them by smugglers and criminals who are bold enough to operate in the heavily protected system. So usually when people try to hide out in Kellogg, they head over to Kellogg 3. From there, we can take a look at Kellogg 4. Over there now. Kellogg 4 is a super Earth. It is covered in copious resources, and a lot of people want to mine those resources, but there's still ongoing debate about how best to handle it. There's even been petitions to say that the prisoners of Quarterdeck should be allowed to open up mining operations there to generate profit for the UEE. And private companies want a chance, but so far, no permits have been handed out and has remained untouched, other than by some rogue individuals who sneak onto the planet and try to mine in stealth. Kellogg 5 is a gas dwarf planet, which is fairly unusual. It is not a gas giant because it has a rocky core. And it is only one of few gas dwarfs that can be found in the UEE. At first, it was very much like Kellogg 4 in that no industry was allowed, but because of the increased cost in shipping quantum fuel out to support Quarterdeck and Zeiss, it was eventually allowed to open a few refineries around the planet. So those are operating now to provide fuel to the ships operating for the UE in the system. So now that we got those out of the way, let's go head into the heart of the system and check out Zeiss over here. Now, Zeiss is a terrestrial rocky planet. It is covered in mostly oceans, warm oceans, and jungles. And I say covered in mostly, and it's got various terrains, but that is the predominant features when you look at it from space. The planet itself, Zeiss, is named after the first creature that was discovered by scientists doing the initial surveys. It was a 14-eyed insect, and Xi is the 14th letter of the Greek alphabet. So pluralization of that ended up carrying on the name of the planet overall. It's now known as Zeiss. The reason the world received Fair Chance Act designation was because of a primitive hominid-like species called orms who live in the planet's northern region. They are one of the fastest developing species that are under the Fair Chance world. And in the past century, their society complexity and text level has just really increased as scientists have been observing them. And it's quite exciting for the researchers working here. Now, while few people have seen orms outside of vids, there's another creature from Zeiss that has been seen the UEE over, and those are the flowpets. In the early 30th century, some smugglers managed to collect a few of these friendly creatures and get them off world. Their hopes were because they were very easy to breed, they had short lifespans, and they were very protein dense, that they would make good source of food. But unfortunately, they discovered quickly that toxic amino acid that was inside the pet couldn't be bred out of them, so they were inedible. But in the domestication process, they discovered that they make excellent pets. They were very friendly and easy to take care of. So they became extremely popular around the UEE flow, standing for friendly little organism. And as flow pets got really popular amongst the wealthy, demand skyrocketed, and the UEE tried to crack down on them because it was a bad thing to kind of turn a blind eye to a creature that was smuggled off a Fair Chance world. So people were nervous that when they started issuing fines and arresting people associated with flow pet trading, a lot of people just released their flow pet out onto the streets. And unfortunately, the flow pets are really easily able to adapt to a wide variety of locations, and they were well suited to cities. So now you have large stray populations on flow pets on many, many planets across the UE. Since they have become so common and there are more flow pets now living outside of Zeiss than there are on the world itself, the UE has turned back their policy, and now it is legal to own flow pets once again. Floating nearby Zeiss is the orbital platform Pegasus, which is used as the ground base for research and science operations, as well as housing the military personnel who protect the planet from outside influence. And the military personnel here rotate commonly between serving here and going over and serving the quarterdeck, this being considered the much nicer place to work. So it's kind of standard duty where you do a few months here, a few months over at quarterdeck. There is an overlook that provides a great view of the planet below, and that's kind of the main socializing hub on the station. If you're traveling here, you want to make sure that you have the proper authorization through contracting to deliver supplies or civilian personnel to the station. Otherwise, you're going to get harassed. And actually leaving the station, there is a lot of security, and they want to make sure that you're not leaving with any unauthorized samples or the like, because there's a lot of samples stored aboard the station, and there's been smuggling in the past. So now when you're leaving, you do a very thorough search of your vessel before you head out. From there, we can head on over to quarterdeck. Quarterdeck is a terrestrial ice planet. The reason why quarterdeck was chosen to become a prison planet was once the whole system was going to be designated for scientific research, but that was before the 2 jump points to Vandal space were discovered in the system. There's one to Virgil over here, and there's one to Vector over here, and that made the system a more dangerous one as Vandal raiding parties began to show up. At first, they thought they were going to have to increase their military operations here, but a senator, Daniela Agren, suggested that rather than just doing military operations, they can convert Kellogg 6 into a prison planet. And such a facility would not only solve the security concerns, but it would be able to generate its own money
Kellogg
thanks
6.
to building an antimatter refinery there. And so that was, after much debate, it was approved. And it was seen as a win-win because not many planets want to host antimatter facilities due to the risk involved. But it was considered safe because quarterdeck was so far away from the rest of the system, and it was a safe enough distance away from Zeiss. So the plans went ahead. The presence of the quarterdeck in the system has made Kellogg one of the busier Fairchance systems, in that there's a steady stream of people coming through for non-research reasons. One of the things that makes it so suited to be a prison planet is the fact that Kellogg 6 is so cold. This frozen world was seen as a way to prevent escape, because people, if they got outside of the facilities, would quickly very much be in trouble from the environmental conditions. At least that was the idea. There have been several successful escapes over the years. One famous case recently was a prisoner escaped and then hid out on Kellogg 3 and was trying to avoid detection, but unfortunately they got stuck on the world and no one knew they were there, and they managed to survive for a few months off their supplies on their ship before they had to send up an emergency beacon, and almost perished, but were recaptured by authorities. Quarterdeck, as I mentioned, has a full antimatter processing facility, and prisoners work there in order to get reduced sentences. Very recently, Senator Herron from Ellis tried to introduce a bill that would make working in the refinery mandatory to help improve costs of the facility. And then at the same time, there's even senators who are proposing closing the system, like Gada Veris from Coral, because they considered it a security risk for the UE to rely on antimatter from a world so close to Vandal space. Nearby to Quarterdeck, at its Lagrange point, is the Justice Star, and the Justice Star is the main entry point into Quarterdeck. All ships arriving at Quarterdeck are supposed to go through the Justice Star, and they have a security system set up in place where they can accept in criminals, process them, and send them down to Quarterdeck. A lot of bounty hunters bring prisoners directly there to be processed. So there's a lot of traffic that way. Oddly enough, with the security of the Justice Star and Quarterdeck and Pegasus Station, there is a lot of sectors that have very high security, but they're all kind of around these focal points, whereas the rest of the system is kind of lower security. And there's been a few cases recently where, because the system has the illusion of high security, that like researchers and the like often go out without escorts. And so there was an outlaw group that got very bold and planted themselves in the system and been preying upon researchers there and stealing their very expensive equipment. So there's been kind of a rethinking and a pushback there to get more security for the ships flying through kind of the quieter sections of Kellogg. And that's about it for the system. So on one end you have cutting edge research and science being done, and on the other end you have prisoners working away in dangerous antimatter refineries. So it's got this neat dichotomy to it that's going to be really fun to explore further once we get it in game. Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of Lore Makers, and thank you to all the backers out there for helping make this game possible, and thank you to all the subscribers for supporting content like this. And I will see you around the Lore Makers.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in the Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.
I don't think we can. No. That was SIG with their Lore Makers. Alright. So let's go to Board's video. And then after we do Board's video, we'll do another Lore Maker. We'll kind of go back and forth a little. That way that it's not a bunch of lore all at one time. I want to see. Actually, two of them.
Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Salvage has slipped out of Alpha 3.5, but should be seen somewhere in 2019. In the next couple of weeks, we should see an extended, expanded roadmap with some more updates to 3.6 and actually beyond that with 3.7 and probably 3.8 as well. Today I wanted to talk about what appears to be CIG's changing priorities for this year for Star Citizen and how this may affect patches and gameplay throughout 2019. This is more of a I reckon video and musings rather than a statement of fact though. With the updates to Alpha 3.5's roadmap, we've seen a bit more about what is prioritized and what's not at the moment. It's very possible that Salvage just wasn't in an appropriate place for its first implementation and needs a bit more work. In fact, that's exactly what it is. But there's obviously some bits that have caused delays and there's been scheduling changes. It's also very possible that they're prioritizing other features for the persistent universe this year and are pushing that back because they want certain features ready for prime time. Maybe they want Salvage ready for when the Vulture comes in. Star Citizen is becoming a bit more mainstream with more players and bigger content creators playing the game. On Twitch recently, I've been watching Cyanide and Quebec play together and it's been pretty cool. They seem to be really enjoying the game. Traditionally, every year in January, CIG reschedule large sections of their roadmap, and this might be one of the reasons that we haven't seen 3.7 and 3.8, because they were like, well, let's wait until the time of year where we do the rescheduling to do those parts of the roadmap. And the scheduling for this is based on various factors, what they want to get out at certain times of the year, like at CitizenCon, the 4 major PU releases that they have each year, what they believe the game currently needs as it's being run as a live environment. It's a living game now. They literally are just updating it every 3 months. Yes, it's not anywhere near finished yet, but that's how they're treating it. And this year, there's a concerted effort to get Squadron 42 Episode 1 finished now, with optimistic plans to get the game content and feature complete for the end of 2019 for release in 2020. Almost everything that is going into Squadron 42 can and will be used in the Persistent Universe in some way, although it does require more work to get it PU or multiplayer ready in most cases. It's logical that scheduling aspects of the game that are entirely shared by both Squadron 42 and Star Citizen will take precedent. And beyond that, Squadron 42 features may be getting more priority than they previously had. These finished core features of Star Citizen that are going to be in Squadron 42, if it just takes them a month or two to get them fully in the Persistent Universe, it's likely they'll do that. It's a core of the game and a core of the engine. So with that in mind, expect the Squadron 42 roadmap to be almost entirely absorbed into the Persistent Universe roadmap, typically with some of the features coming the same quarter as they sit in Squadron 42's roadmap, or the quarter afterwards if they need a bit more work, in most cases anyway. This obviously doesn't entirely preclude any other features coming to the Persistent Universe. I'm just saying that there is going to be a focus on the Squadron 42 ones, and some core gameplay features for Star Citizen are desperately needed to get into a place that is more stable. The new flight model needs not only to work, but work well. Combat has to be pretty damn close to its final state for Squadron 42's launch, and that's obviously going to be shared in Star Citizen. This touches pretty much everything in some way, that flight model, and you can't have a game about spaceships without a pretty damn good flight model, ESP and combat. The model is an entire overhaul to the previous one, so every ship will be affected. Weapons need rebalancing, shields, items, and it's going to take a while beyond 3.5 to get it appropriately ready for prime time. Yes, there are almost certainly going to be tweaks and balances after Squadron 42's launch as well when it comes to the Persistent Universe balance and all that sort of stuff with the flight model, because they'll be releasing more ships. Once they've released some new items and capital ships and weapons, they might have to tweak some of the hulls, they might have to tweak some of the thrusters, all that sort of stuff, but it's not going to majorly affect Squadron 42, at least it shouldn't. So yeah, consider that they will likely want to get all the features of Squadron 42 in a similar state. Why not get that into the PU as well around the same time? 3D maps, HUD improvements, scanning, radars, signatures, all to their final versions, or at least close to them. Beyond the flight model for ships, ship items, physicalization, sub-items, repair, the new physical damage system all need to be completed for Squadron 42. This would have all common elements across ships pretty much completed. So you'd have the flight model, you'd have the physicalization of items. This would enable much better multi-crew, repair for the ships, lots of customization. Items can be shot, disabled, repaired, customized, and ships will look awesome when they take damage. But they're not going to have health pools. It's literally going to be ships more being disabled rather than exploding, because you'll be taking out the individual thrusters and components. You should see new shield tech with signed distance fields conforming much more accurately and closely to the hulls of ships as well. AI and NPCs need to be working for Squadron 42. They're also so important to Star Citizen in the Persistent Universe and getting them working. As they're so integral to Squadron 42 and they're releasing that new flight model, there's going to be a concerted effort on getting NPCs better for combat, the way they react, use cover, have their own lives, maybe they get the scheduling in properly, social NPCs, shopkeepers, NPCs moving around landing zones, more NPC sort of like DNA, because they're releasing that DNA customization system for the players. But that's also going to affect NPCs. Their NPCs are going to look a lot different, a lot more varied. They want to have NPC ships in trade lanes and in missions, moving around landing zones, but more challenging in combat across multiple skill areas. NPC crew, or at least wingmen, you can hire are much more of a possibility. Probably not this year, but we could certainly have NPCs join us on missions or be much more active in them. Squadron 42's got loads and loads of sort of like wingman and NPC friendly tech stuff going on where NPCs can follow you around and react to your orders, things like that. Procedural improvements. So there's lots of props and assets for creation of cities, biomes, planets, asteroid fields, outposts, rest stops, stations, and other points of interest, as well as gas cloud tech that's needed for the coil. That's all getting added to the game system, adding a load more variety for missions and general just the prettiness of space. FPS gameplay and animations are obviously going to be very important to them this year. Light survival mechanics with the player status system coming online, so food, drink, washing your character will all be at least semi-important.
Hey Tarkon, how you
Swimming,
doing,
close
buddy?
combat, usable mounted weapons, mag boots for EVA. Animations will be a focus, getting them looking great. Having players sliding, walking upstairs, climbing ledges, and making sure that players aren't jittery anymore. Obviously, that's a bit network code side, but they're getting all these systems in. They're making the game look as good as they can. The Vandal are going to be very fleshed out as well this year with their ships and troops on the ground, so maybe we'll see some more of that beyond Arena Commander and in the Persistent Universe in a couple of missions maybe. The Pillars, so they talked about the Pillars to completion at CitizenCon 2018. So this year we're likely to see expanded group features and full persistence, and them laying the foundations or some of the groundwork for server meshing. That should include a focus on group gameplay like sharing missions, rewards, a more robust service beacon system, as well as organization features being more fleshed out. Performance and polish. The engine and general polish of the game is going to be a lot better. Things like Vulkan support might come online. Performance and more is obviously going to be a big focus. VoIP and FOIP working properly and stably. Server-side object container streaming is needed for both the Persistent Universe and Squadron 42 and should give a load of benefits, especially with server efficiency. Probably allowing for more players on servers as well. And them getting some more players and getting the servers as tweaked as possible this year is very important. We don't want 50 players per server anymore. CIG clearly know that. We want a couple of hundred at least in a server. And then obviously when they have server meshing tech, they can really start to ramp those numbers up. But the more players in, the better. But at the same time, you don't want performance to tank. So they need to make all these optimizations. Gameplay area. So they obviously want to get Stanton as completed as possible this year. And they're going to get Planet Arc Corp in there, Microtech, and at a push,
That looks pretty good,
Orzen,
I
which
must
is
say.
the Cloud City above Crusader, also implying the Cloud
really
Tech
like it.
for Crusader will be completed too. It makes sense that they need to get that system finished off as soon as possible because they need to start working on jump points and getting other systems all done. Yes, there's going to be loads of ships coming in 2019. I'm also expecting to see the Carrack and Titan suits by the end of the year. Do and should gameplay loops suffer because of this? Well, in the long term, they probably don't. In the short term, yes. Obviously, Salvage has moved out again. But having the core mechanics in should make planning and implementing gameplay loops more easy and for them to be closer to what is intended for them straight away because they have a more stable base and they know what's going on with balancing a bit better. Repairing and refueling are already listed for 3.6. I'm also expecting higher times to kill because of disabling ships rather than them always blowing up. Hopefully this should also mean we can have boarding in a much more stable state. I expect we will still see salvage this year and mining to get a lot more love too. Medical gameplay is part of Squadron 42, so I'd expect them to work on that a bit more and get a more full medical experience in this year, medding other players with med pens, dragging them around, stunning them and knocking them down rather than killing them. Beyond that, I would expect them to try and get some of the features they wanted to get in last year and they've talked about before, so land claims, ship rentals, weapon inspection and interaction with general objects, lots more stealth type gameplay, persistent habs and hangars, maybe some of the data storage stuff as well. They've talked about ship to station docking, getting the parasite fighters working, which would be ship to ship docking as well, and the expanded cargo system so they can have lots of different cargo container sizes, obviously the larger ones being more appropriate for the game where possible because that means less entities they need to deal with and that's a lot more efficient. They don't want thousands of little boxes like we've got at the moment in each ship. They want to go, well, let's put these 24 small little boxes into one big box, and then that's one entity to deal with rather than 24. It makes sense to me that they'll try and get as many parts of the core game and feature set in as close to a finished state as possible, and all the gameplay in-game we can as full as possible. More missions and variants for them being a large factor of that. General subsumption with all the other elements coming together is probably going to be tested this year after they get full persistence out. This will have a more dynamic economy and the mission generation system tweaked a bit better based on what players are doing. But I'm expecting PU-wise, gameplay area, AI and NPCs, missions, the flight model, combat, ship components, customization, group features, multi-crew, and full persistence to take a huge chunk of the priority this year. Getting Star Citizen in a much less buggy state and more of a robust game. In my predicted scenario, there's a lot more content and gameplay area, but there's still a large amount for them to do. They'd then be able to attach new gameplay loops and ships like that to make the game less shallow, almost modularly, because they've got the base of the game there. They know how everything else balances together. Hopefully, that should allow them to do it a lot more easily. And it just sort of like makes sense. It makes the game more mainstream and much more playable. I do expect that Squadron 42 will need jump points as well. I doubt the whole game is just in the Odin system, and that's one of the sort of things I'm expecting to see at CitizenCon. Obviously, we want animals and loads of other stuff. There's so many gameplay loops that they need to start getting done, but I'm expecting the more common ones like repair, salvage, rearming, refueling, and fuel type stuff, all to be the ones they focus on this year. I also suspect that modularity will see some work, but I wouldn't expect modular room changes in ships, maybe more gameplay loops beyond what we've discussed, jump points, new systems, and capital ships, actually in-game until 2020 now, along with something pushing towards the first iteration of server meshing, or at least its foundation anyway. I'm interested to know your thoughts and predictions too. Please chuck them in the comments below. What do you think CIG are doing direction-wise? What do you think is going to appear on the roadmap? What do you think we'll see this year? Every month we have a giveaway for a Star Citizen ship. For January, we have a standalone Anvil Carrack, the mighty explorer vessel. All you need to do to be in for a chance of winning is be subscribed to my YouTube.
Alright, here's a link to the video. The way boards giveaways work is you need to go there and like and subscribe, and then you leave a comment for each one of his videos, even if it's more than one video a day, to get an entry into the monthly contest. Like today, he came out with 2 videos. You'll have 2 chances. So we got another board video, but before we do that, we're going to go back to the lore, watch another chunk out of the lore. Where I have it at. Go to my website. To the Kellogg system. There's another system that I wanted to get to know a little bit.
Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Loremaker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'm your host, Archivist Sherry Heiberg. I'm a member of the lore team. For those of you who have not seen other episodes of Loremaker's Guide to the Galaxy, this is a semi-regularly occurring program in which we cover the lore and the science and the history behind the star systems that we have created for Star Citizen, the game that presumably you're interested in. So, now, thank you. I think it's a very solid intro. All right, so let's get started here. I am going to go over the Kaifa system. It is a Xi'an system that you can get through, through some jump points. I don't know that there's a direct route. Actually, you know what? Let's see if there's a direct route from Sol to Kaifa. Let's say Sol, and let's do Kaifa. All right. Calculate. Wait, I have to do my ship size. Let's just say small so we can hit all the jump points. Oh, cool. It's just like two jumps to Kaifa in a small ship. Let's see, in a medium. That's 2 jumps to Kaifa in a medium and in a large. So no matter what ship you're flying, it's only 2 jumps to Kaifa from Sol, which is probably what helps its reputation as a tourist destination among UEE folk. Let's see if we can. Whoops, I just made the screen small. But that is all right. Let's see. Okay. Here we are back in the regular view of the system. And I was talking about how it's a tourist destination before I messed up the screen, but we're back. We're back in business. So among the UEE, Kaifa is a tourist destination.
Kind of like
among
in
the
her
Xi'an,
way.
it is maybe the single most important star system that they have, because it is the seat of Litova, which is their main religion, spiritual belief system. They've had it for several millennia now. It's not a profit-centered religion like a lot of the ones we have here. It's more a system of spiritual beliefs that the species as a whole follows. There are other religions, of course, but this is the one that is ascribed the most importance and is adopted as a state religion by the emperor's family, the Kree. It focuses on, well, what I find very interesting about it, and what I hope you find very interesting about it, is that Litova is centered around the concept of nothingness and the void, which can be physically represented by the ideas of space and time, or space-time, rolled together as a whole. Xi'an, who follow Litova, are very concerned with the effects of their actions on the universe. There's a popular saying, the greater the thought, the greater the action, which has been debated by practitioners of Litova for millennia on hand. Consensus is, at this time, and they love to debate, I need to put this out there, debating is one of their most favorite things to do. Consensus is that any thought, no matter how small, has the potential to affect
I feel like there's more than one person inside of
which
this
is part
thing.
of the reason why the Xi'an are so slow to make decisions. They want to be sure that they have made the best decision that they possibly can. And that can require some time in contemplation, which us short-lived humans, we can't really see why they would do that. Well, obviously we understand that it's important to take your time to make good decisions, but they take a lot of time. And part of that is because they're followers of Litova. Now, let's dive into the star here. This is a K-type main sequence star. It's a little cooler than our sun, and it's quite long-lived. This sun right here is only about 8 billion years old, but it has at least twice that left in its star DNA. The Kepler program and people who are very interested in the possibility of extraterrestrial life keep a close eye on K-type stars because it's thought that it's very likely that life would form around them, as they don't give off as much harmful ultraviolet radiation as our sun, and they stay around for much, much longer. That sun right there would probably have been one of the first things that the human explorers who discovered
there's
a
like
hidden jump
3 or
point of the
4
system
people
the
inside of
system had
her.
been protected for a
Yeah,
very,
different
very
voices,
long time
too.
by the Xi'an.
And her face
It was
changes.
a closely guarded secret. They didn't want anybody to
scared.
go in. But 2 human explorers, like I said, accidentally found a way in. And because it had been so tightly guarded, the human government, the UEE, thought that this action might accidentally lead to war. But Emperor Krei, in a surprise move, let the explorers go, reasoning that, well, if they were killed, humans would find the jump point event again eventually. He thought about it, just like Litova says, he thought about it and chose the best outcome. And eventually, after the Cold War ended, opened the system to human tourists in the hopes that the cultural understanding engendered by humans visiting the cultural and religious seat of the Xi'an Empire would, in time, come to understand them. And there would be interspecies understanding.
She's a giant.
Everything would be wonderful. Yay.
I thought I was a big dog, but
This here is Kaifa 1. In proper Xi'an, the name of this would be Kaipua. But if you say Kaifa, Xi'an would probably understand what you're getting at. Kaifa 1 is a carbon planet, meaning that when it formed, the particulates in the protoplanetary disk were very carbon heavy. So the surface is black and brown and dark red and presents a kind of a gothic looking image from space. I think it would be very nice if we could get a really good artist rendition of what Kaipua 1 looks like from the surface.
It's black and brown.
It's not inhabited because it's so close to the sun, of course. But because it's a carbon planet, it's postulated that there may be diamonds under the surface.
Diamonds.
As of now, that hasn't been confirmed. I mean, as you can see, it's just right up on the sun right there. It's technically in the green band, so I mean, hey, maybe it could be terraformed one day, but we haven't really successfully terraformed a carbon planet yet. But anything's possible because, as Dave Haddock likes to say, space be crazy. This is Kaipua 2, which is the seat of Litova, the most important planet in the Xi'an universe, and a very pretty planet. It's essentially one big temple. It was not terraformed. I mean, it wasn't inhabitable when the Xi'an found it, possibly because the length of the day is exactly the same length of a Xi'an year, which is 128 human years. And because of Litova's emphasis on time and time-space, oops, I need to leave that up there. Because of Litova's emphasis on time and time-space, this planet attained incredible spiritual significance. And now that it's terraformed and it's full of temples and farms and gardens, the most holy thing or most spiritual thing that a practitioner of Litova can do is spend an entire day meditating. So that's 128 human years, 100 Xi'an years. Because Xi'an have such long lives and such slow metabolism, this is technically possible, but it's extremely difficult, and it's something that only the most dedicated practitioners of Litova even attempt. Another thing that really dedicated practitioners of Litova do is they attempt to cultivate the centennial bloom, which is like Kaipua 2, a plant that only blooms once every 100 Xi'an years. It is not native to this planet. It's actually native to Koli, which is in the Aeolis system, and is a nature reserve planet that the Xi'an have put together to preserve all the animal and plant life in their empire.
I want these people jobs just so I can crap out amazing stories.
Once they discovered it there on Koli, they absolutely
have that be my job. I can tell some bullshit. Trust me.
So
I can
good
make up a better story than what they got
probably
here.
have a centennial plant in their house or in their spaceship that they take great care. They take great care of, and the day that it blooms is it's a significant event. If you've been
I can be a really good liar when I have to be. I can make all kinds of stuff up.
I know I do. But if you're not a subscriber, I mean, it'd be cool if you were. We do love our subscribers and all of our players. In game,
they need to add me to their team.
Once we get the game, up and running and open to everybody, this would be the place where you would go to purchase your own Centennial Bloom.
Let me get on here and tell some lore stories.
As a complimentary gift, but if you're anyone else, you do have to buy it. All proceeds go towards the maintenance of the temple planet Kaipua 2. Let's move on to the next planet now that we've discussed awesome Temple Planet. And let's say this here is Kaipua 3. It is a gas dwarf. We haven't really talked very much about gas dwarfs, I think, in Loremaker's Guide to the Galaxy, mainly because our solar system doesn't have any gas dwarfs in it. But according to the Kepler program, it is probably the most abundant type of planet in the universe, which I find fascinating. What they are is they're gas planets. So they're not gas giants, but they are gas planets. So something akin to Jupiter, Neptune, Saturn, in that they do have a core, but they're enveloped with a thick, dense gas atmosphere that's made of hydrogen and helium. They're bigger than Earth. They're like super Earth akin to, they're akin to super Earths in radius. And they basically, they behave like little mini gas giants. Hence the name gas dwarfs. What's so interesting to me about them is, like I said, they are one of the most abundant planets in the universe, which kind of calls into question our perception that our solar system is typical. Most likely, according to the evidence that we've uncovered so far, our solar system is incredibly atypical. Most stars are binary, for example, or maybe three, 4 stars. Most stars exist in systems, and most star systems have gas dwarfs in them, as Kepler has revealed to us. So barring any more Kepler discoveries, which I'm sure we'll have a lot of, as of right now, the most abundant planet in the universe, the most abundant planet type in the universe does not exist in our own backyard. Speaking of backyards, if we could just find Kaipua 4 over here. This is also a gas dwarf, and it exists pretty far out in orbit as compared to its planetary siblings.
Gas dwarfs.
This isn't entirely unusual. There are a lot of planetary systems with far flung out planetary bodies, like Pluto is for us. It's like way, way out there. So it's possible that this gas dwarf formed in the early days of the system just naturally away from everything else, but it's just as possible that the orbit was increased by the passing of another celestial body, like a rogue planet, just flung it out. So the passing of a rogue planet is a much more exciting explanation. So who knows what actually
Come
occurred?
on, Mikey.
Probably astrophysicists.
Cat's here.
Returning to the center of the system, I'm going to zoom out a bit so we can see it in its full glory. Kaipua. It is the seat of Litova, the most spiritually significant planetary system in the entire Xi'an Empire. Litova, the religion, probably contributes an incredible amount to the Xi'an's understanding of space-time as a concept, because their main spiritual belief encourages the asking of questions, it encourages scientific exploration, and it encourages especially a lot of effort spent on the understanding of time, contemplation, and the questioning of one's actions. So if you're interested in Xi'an culture, once we get this system built and in the game, this would be the perfect place to stop.
Culture.
You can buy your Centennial Bloom, give a high five to a monk, and ask someone about time as a concept. Here we go. So thanks very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed this edition of Loremaker's Guide to the Galaxy. I know I always enjoy a chance to talk about the alien religions and culture that we've come up with. This system, I do want to say that just the construction of this system and how we were building up the idea of the planet being the entire length of a Xi'an year helped us understand that Litova was centered around time and nothingness. So you never know where the creative process is going to lead you. Anyway, thank you again. We'd like to thank all of you for watching this program and continue.
Okay. Here's this video link, and then we're gonna go back to a board game video, his second one of the day. Then we're gonna do one more lore video. Breaking it. one right. Eric, what we know.
Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. The Carrack is one of my favourite.
You better say something new and not just be repeating stuff that we already know, like they reduced the size of it a little while ago. I hope you're saying something new. I'm trying to say.
Ships in Star Citizen, and there's been a reasonable amount of info about it in the last couple of months, which I wanted to talk about. Kind of an all we know on the Carrack at the moment.
All we know on the Carrack at the moment.
What is the Carrack? Originally a stretch goal ship for when they hit $33 million in funding. From the original blurb, the Carrack is a multi-crew explorer that specialises in exploration and pathfinding. It is built as a single self-sustaining ship that can make long duration voyages through the roughest areas of space. It's designed specifically for transitioning jump points, dealing with extreme conditions in space and getting back home. Since its time in the military, it's been the vanguard of every UEE exploration effort in recent years. Combined with high tensile hull armor, the Carrack is one of the safest exploration ships in the galaxy. The Carrack is now declassified and is available for civilian use. And on the ship page, it currently reads the Anvil Carrack features reinforced fuel tanks for long duration flight, an advanced jump drive, and dedicated computer core for jump charting operations. Originally a military exclusive, the Carrack is now available for civilian use. On-board accommodations include crew, medical and repair facilities, and a mapping-orientated sensor suite. So the Carrack was originally 123 meters long, and since its concept, it's now been made 125 meters long. Typically, the older ships that were planned get much bigger because they used to build the exterior roughly before the interior. It's now the other way around where they build the interior and then actually build the exterior on top of that, so they sort of like know the metrics much better. But why didn't the Carrack get bigger then? Well, during its white boxing, they actually made it a lot bigger, around 40% bigger in fact, but realised that they didn't need to. The focus of the ship is exploration, so it being small for that, while having everything it needs, is much more sensible for its intention. It's not a carrier, it's not a cargo ship. Being larger in this particular case does not make it better, nor does having more space, although you could argue having a larger cargo bay or something like that, or a larger bay for ships or something would be cool, but it certainly doesn't necessarily make it better at its intended purpose. It's an explorer. Smaller means faster, more nimble, more efficient, and harder to hit in combat. This size also allows it to land on landing pads and in hangars more easily, so you'd be able to land on the pads in Port Olisar at the moment, for example. Those pads will literally fit it. Technically, on the Kraken 2, maybe on the top, though not properly, you know, you could sort of get it in there, but also this enables it to be used in atmosphere much more readily too, which is very useful for an exploration ship. It looks to be around 64 meters wide and 32 meters high at the moment, at last count anyway. It's a 6-person ship. Its components are all large rather than capital size. In fact, it's sort of like just on the border of having capital size components, meaning it does lose out on the power of these capital size items, but its items are much more easy to serve, replace, switch out, and assumably repair, as well as obviously being cheaper. It's currently listed as having 2 shield generators, 2 coolers, 2 intakes for fuel and 2 tanks for fuel, as well as 3 medium computers. I believe medium is the largest size of computer plan for the game at the moment. These computer slots can be used for a variety of yet unrevealed purposes, but also we do know that one of these is the automation of turrets and point defense systems. It's being built by Anvil and originally for military purposes, so expect it to be pretty tough with possible top-tier military component upgrades available. I also saw 4 turrets in the current grey box for it, each with 2 weapons. So
Upgrades.
I would guess that these weapons are size 4 to 5 each, so potentially 8 size 4 weapons, 8 size 5 weapons, or a mixture of the two. Last info we had on this as well, that 3 of those turrets were manned and 1 of them is remote, although that might entirely change. Obviously, there's going to be balancing and they haven't finished the Carrack. The Carrack is in active development with a team of 5 working on it full-time in the UK office. They have the interior worked out and are getting the exterior done now. It's likely that it will be flyable in 2019, probably sitting around 3.7, 3.8 alpha, so in the second half of the year.
I assumed that they would have something like that. That's what data running would kind of be, and indirectly, not mining for it, but there'll be missions to where you could use your computers on your ships to make money. Same but different.
The Carrack
but,
was
yeah,
$400 when it was last on sale during the Anniversary Expo 2948. So what does the Carrack do? The Carrack is the top tier exploration and expedition ship. It's supposed to be used at long range to do everything that you can think of that's exploration under the sea.
Did you see the mining software that Razer built into their software? Like you can download it and like mine for like Razer currency to get a better mouse or to get whatever from Razer, a keyboard. I'm serious, dude. I was like, what the heck is going on? I was like, you guys gotta be nuts.
Although the Carrack's focus is on exploration, it can do a bit of everything as well. It has a repair bay, a medical bay, living quarters for its 6 crew, cargo, engineering, a bay for drones, a bay for a rover, a bay for a snub, sort of scout craft, the Pisces. So the snub bay is almost big enough to take an arrow, although the arrow is slightly too tall. It should fit other snubs though, so you get like an 85X in there, I think. All these rooms are separated into 2 main decks. However, there is also an additional sort of like exploration observation area at the top of the ship and a small lower or sub deck underneath the ship, it looks like as well. Sort of like where the rover comes out of and that sort of stuff. I suppose it's technically 4 decks then? There was a link on Reddit which I used here, Kettle96's old to new comparison of the Carrack, which I will chuck down in the description below for people that want to see that original post. The ship's bridge is supposed to incorporate various sensor mapping and charting suites for deeper exploration gameplay as well. It has that Pisces scout ship as well, which we don't know much about other than it's a small snub craft, P-52 kind of size. It has drones, it has a ground rover, it can do a little bit of everything, and those drones are probably going to be used for exploration because they're scout drones, they're supposed to be anyway. Let's talk about the Carrack's potential uses for exploration and expedition gameplay. We obviously don't know everything that's going to be with exploration and expedition, but they have talked some about it, and we do know some of the direction that this sort of gameplay is going to be going into. Jump point discovery, mapping, plotting, that's all supposed to be a thing. In fact, it's obviously in the original blurb. There's going to be lots of different discoverable points of interest, asteroid fields, pirate bases, anomalies, and a lot more in space that the Carrack is perfectly suited to find. Information selling is going to be a major part of the game, and that is part of the exploration game. Mapping, finding these locations, finding resources to exploit. That is part of exploration, and the Carrack is very suited at doing that very well. In fact, its sensors are probably great for all types of detection. Scanning down ships and fleets should be pretty viable for it. It's got good sensors and mapping facilities, basically. There's been previous talk about mapping jump points, placing nav beacons, scout drones. If there's static maps you can create in the persistent universe by exploring an area, then the Carrack will also be perfect for this. But expect it to be able to do almost every type of exploration type gameplay. Exploration in Star Citizen isn't the same as it is in No Man's Sky. There aren't an infinite amount of solar systems and star systems to kind of go and explore. I do imagine that some people will travel jump points to the edge of the sort of like known universe and then fly to the edges of those systems and then try and scan down interesting points of interest. But every system in the game, every star system, should have exploration mechanics to do around it. There's going to be lots of points of interest around. The Carrack is obviously supposed to be able to operate for huge periods of time or potentially indefinitely with the right loadout, making it very good for exploration as well, or just spending huge amounts of time out around the edges of a system, just looking for stuff, just playing out there without having to deal with other players, I suppose, in a lot of situations. More surveying stuff, using the Carrack to discover asteroid fields and potential plots of land on planets makes a lot of sense as well. The Carrack being able to deploy that rover, the scout ship, and being small enough means it can get to more places to find and do more things. The Carrack is also a long-range multi-role corvette. In fact, I expect for a lot of players, it will be a ship that they will strive towards that is affordable in game with some effort, but doesn't come with the gigantic sort of capital ship price tag. And I'm expecting them to be the center pieces of some smaller fleets. You might argue that it's not Corvette size, but it's close enough. It's pretty much a Corvette. It is large components rather than capital components, but it's got all the sort of facilities a capital ship would have. And I judge it as a Corvette, but it's just a name, I suppose, more than anything else. I would expect it to be twice what the Hammerhead costs in game, so roughly maybe 40 million UEC. I know lots of people keep on asking about how much do you think ships will be in game. That is something I'm pulling out of my ass, but it makes sense that it would be around twice the cost of that. It's got a lot more facilities and stuff like that. The Carrack should have a reasonable punch with its weapons as well, but it isn't intended to be a straight-up combat ship like the Polaris or the Hammerhead. It does have a huge amount of utility, though. Some things that we don't know that would be cool to know in the near future is, how is it going to be affected by the new flight model? Will it get more thrusters and VTOLs? I kind of want to know what it's going to be like in atmosphere. It's been suggested that the ship might have some modularity beyond the standard customization of ships, but I don't have any more information on that. If it's got some customizable rooms, great. The exact layout would be nice to know. The amount and placement of elevators and stairs in the ship. It's important to know how to get around. The ship is obviously smaller than a giant ship, but it's still pretty damn big. And there's going to be repair in the future where you running around and repairing subjunction boxes and stuff like that. It's going to be important to have power going around the ship properly and to get to different items around the ship that might have been damaged, might need repair, might need components changing, that sort of stuff. The extent to what exploration gameplay we will have is still unknown. We do know it's going to cross into the science sort of gameplay and lots of other roles and gameplay loops, though. It's going to touch a lot of different things. I'm hoping that the Carrack's going to be well suited for surveying land, or maybe you can put a vehicle inside it, replace the rover with something that's better suited at surveying land, because then you can do so much with that Carrack. And along with the Reclaimer, it's going to be probably one of the ships that I spend most of my time in once we have those gameplay loops to support it. But what do you think of the Carrack? Do you like it being 125 meters, or did you want it a lot bigger? Were you disappointed the fact they didn't make it 40% bigger? Or do you have a different favorite ship? Do you go, nah, the Carrack is nothing on my Banu Merchantman or my Polaris? Tell me in the comments below. Every month we have a giveaway for a Star Citizen ship. For January, we have a standalone Anvil Carrack, the mighty explorer vessel. All you need to do to be in for a chance of winning is be subscribed to my YouTube channel and then comment on any of my videos released during the month. You can find more details in the comments below. If you don't have a gaming PC yet, or you are upgrading, instead consider Shadow Cloud Gaming. They allow you to leverage the powers of the internet to stream a high-spec Windows 10 environment to any other PC, Mac, or device like a smartphone or tablet. It is working really well in Star Citizen's 3.4 branch, and be sure to use the code BOARDGAMER if you do decide to check it out to get a discount. Links below. For those of you wanting to support
Here we go, there's a link to the second board. Now we'll go back and do one more lore. Lore. Did the Kellogg. Null system. You can do CS on a touchpad, maybe.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Loremaker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'm Adam Weezer, associate writer here at CIG Los Angeles. And if you haven't had a chance to watch this show yet, it's an opportunity for a member of the lore team to sit down, give you a personal tour of the star system that you'll be seeing in Squadron 42 and Star Citizen, give you a little history behind it, and maybe some of the astronomical data that helped build out the world that we're creating here. Yeah, anyways, today we are off to a strange system, one that has a name that really doesn't do it justice. And today that's why you're going to find that we are here in the Null system. Now, Null, that name came from the French nav jumper who originally discovered it, a man by the name of Anton Lebesgue, who came across it in 2290. Now, when he came back from this historic trip, he was asked, what did he find? And he responded with the one word that has now stuck with the system ever since, null.
Oh.
Now, obviously, there is something in this system. He was just disappointed that at the time, it was the first system humanity had ever discovered that didn't have any habitable land. It was literally the first time that in man's journey through the stars that they stifled humanity's expansion. Previous to this, humanity had only ever lived in the Sol system. They discovered Croshaw in 2271, and they discovered Redder in 2287. So all of those systems had habitable areas or were able to be terraformed for human habitation. And the Null system was the first one that had no naturally habitable land due to the fact that the terraforming technology we had at the time wasn't advanced enough to be able to deal with the basically astronomical phenomenon that's at the heart of the system. And if you see here on the actual star map built by the
terraforming
team
technology.
The sun at the center of the Null system is almost kind of like getting bigger and smaller, and that's because it is a classical Cepheid variable sun. Now, what this means is that it expands and contracts, it increases in diameter and temperature, and it kind of gets bigger and smaller. Being a classical Cepheid means that it does this in a very kind of like regular behavior, which is great for astronomers because they can see the brightness and the time and the amplitude that it changes, and it's very consistent. So as a marker in the star in the sky to be able to watch and kind of judge stuff by, it's great for astronomy purposes, but makes it absolutely terrible for human habitation. This one at the center of the Null system is an F main sequence, yellow, white in color. And again, the representation here is just, it's not to scale, like the sun would probably scale up a little bigger than that. But if we dig on in and see exactly why we never really were able to habitate here, we will go to the first system or the first planet in the system, Null 1. Now this is a dwarf planet, it's a rocky dwarf planet. Obviously extremely uninhabitable because of its location. When the sun does expand, it burns away more and more of this dwarf planet every single time. So yeah, no reason for you to ever go and visit Null 1. Null 2 is just a little bit further out. And this is an iron planet, which the core of the planet has actually been exposed due to all the heat of the expanding sun in the system, and it's actually cracked it so the gases can be seen leaving from the crack in the mantle of this planet. Of course, there might be valuable minerals there, but its proximity to the sun makes it a place that you're not going to want to visit. Now, if we actually back out a little bit further, we're still in the Null system here. We're going all the way back, and here you go. Here is the first planet in the system by the name of Cole that humans have actually spent some time and actually have a little bit of space on. Now, even though humanity's terraforming has never really advanced to the point where they wanted to do anything in this system, there were 3 different times that we tried to see if we could figure it out. They were all quickly abandoned. One of those attempts was at a research station, which is here on the planet of Cole. The landing zone is named Char, very, very aptly, because as you can see as we kind of like back out from this planet, it's on the very edge of the habitable zone. So as Lebesgue's first description of this planet was, it's barely habitable when the sun is small. So when it expands, when it goes into one of its phases, it makes life even more unbearable here on Cole. It has an atmosphere that's also made up of ammonia and sulfur, which is toxic and means that environmental suits and respirators are needed just to even go to spend any time in the atmosphere. Another mark against it. But again, an old research station named Char is located here. It was long since abandoned by the scientists, and various squatters have moved in over the years, though again, the population is very low. If we back on out again, we'll go out a little bit wider to the 4th planet in the system, which is Null 4. Now this is a gas giant which is has a constant electrical storm kind of raging across the surface. It's really beautiful, and it's something that's visually very stunning, but it's also very deadly. That means ships that might get a little bit too close to try to get that perfect photo opportunity, or those who are even foolish enough to think that maybe they could try to refuel or something from this gas giant, can meet with grave danger and even have their ships destroyed. They say that the Lagrange points around Null 4 are basically collectors of old ships that had basically been destroyed by the storms raging here, and then end up eventually floating out to Lagrange points and kind of staying there. So a beautiful planet, but again, not a place that you are going to want to visit. The one planet in the system where, even though it's not terraformed, humans have found a way to survive in a way for an extended period of time is way out here. It's Ashana. It's the 5th and final planet in the system.
In a way.
And, it's even really hard to see exactly how far away the sun is. But
not necessarily survive, but in a way
this is a terrestrial to
survive.
desert planet. Again, not terraformed. It does have a toxic atmosphere, which again makes it very difficult for anyone to breathe unless you've got an environmental suit and respirator there, which is one of the reasons it hasn't really been, there's not a huge population. It also has extremely high gravity, which again is an issue, and also the source for probably one of the biggest follies in all of the UEE Navy history. Back in 2571, right in the heart of the Messers' rise to power and their idea that humanity needs to impose their will and the UE needs to impose themselves on the stars in every way, shape, or form, a carrier by the name of the UES Olympus basically followed a band of outlaws into this region of Null. The outlaws headed for Ashana, and as they got close to the atmosphere, the captain of the UES Olympus, whether through just sheer hubris or incompetence, followed a little too closely and got into the actual strong atmosphere of the planet, and the gravity basically grabbed the ship and crashed it down into the planet's surface. Most of the people on board were killed. There was a fighter squadron that was with the Olympus at the time.
Like a wrecking ball.
Valiantly for hours, but in the end, they were all eliminated. This massing hulk of a ship just kind of sat there in the desert. Various scrappers and some of the people that were living on Ashana at the time went to go and kind of like salvage the parts from the ship, only to realize that this massive capital ship that was half in the sand and half out was a better place to live than any place else on the planet. So instead of stripping it, they decided to turn it into what is now known as Olympus. And it's still there. It is still filled with bazaars and people from different sides of the law that you're not quite sure you want to deal with. It's technically run by a Devaran by the name of Nexus, who kind of stalks the halls. He runs basically one of the main outlaw gangs that are based in that area, and he does keep a strong kind of like hold on who is actually coming to the planet and what kind of business is being done there. Because again, like the Nix system, like Levski, which you can visit now in the PU, it's a location that they don't want to be known for just abject criminal activity, because that might invite the ire of the UEE and have them come in. So Nexus does roam the halls here and make sure that the criminal activity there is done in a way that isn't so blatant that it's going to draw too much attention. And if we just back out really quick, and I want to show you exactly why they're concerned about this, it's that Null has 4 jump points that connected to it. It has 1 large jump point, which if we spin around here, you see takes us all the way to the Centauri system. It's got 1 medium jump point, which if we spin this way, takes us to the Vega system. and it's got two small jump points. One which goes to Croshaw, which is how it was originally discovered from Sol Croshaw onto Null, and it also has one small jump point into Caliban, into a Vanduul system. So this is kind of interesting because every once in a while, very small Vanduul raiding parties are known to kind of like work the Null system. And Nexus, and basically Nescus, the Tavaran outlaw captain of Olympus, has even organized truces among the outlaw packs within the system at times to basically stop going after each other and start turning their attention towards these smaller kind of Vanduul packs that show up every once in a while. So that was your quick introduction to the Null system. Very interesting, very old system in the history of humanity, but one that, again, it was the first time that a star system basically stopped human expansion and said this is not necessarily an ideal place to live, but yet again, humanity found some way to make it work. Thanks for watching. Tune in again for another episode of Loremaker's Guide to the Galaxy to see another system and learn a little bit more about it. Thanks for watching.
Hello YouTubers, this is the Noobifier and welcome to the monthly Patreon giveaway. I'd like to send you a genuine thank you for supporting the channel by watching and sharing the content that I make to help you stay current. And a second thank you to the Patreon backers who support this content directly. This allows me to directly reach new gamers who may have never heard of Star Citizen. So now, in the channel's regular no bullshit style, here's what you need to know. This month's prize is an Aegis Reclaimer with lifetime insurance. This monster's mechanics have been pushed out of patch 3.5. It's been a very hot topic lately, but hopefully I can lessen the blow for one of you by giving one for free. Here are the rules. First, you must be a subscriber at the time of the draw, and second, you must post something in the comment section of this video. And that's it. The contest will end Thursday at midnight on the 31st of January, Eastern Standard Time, and the winner will be chosen by a random number generator. This is a truly epic prize, generously donated by the backers who support this channel. This is your contest. Please use it as a way to get your friends involved. If you've never heard of Star Citizen, welcome to the verse. If this is your first time at this channel, please take a look at some of the other content, subscribe, comment, and good luck.
Alright. The contest. Claimer giveaway, guys. There's a link to it.
Hello YouTubers, this is the Noobifier. Over 3 years ago, I'd reviewed Power Grid, which allowed you to turn a tablet into a custom touchscreen button box. I tried using a small USB keyboard, I still use Voice Attack, I use an Elgato Stream Deck on a MonsterTech mount, and most recently, I've also tested the Blackhawk controller. You're going to notice a trend here, and there's a good reason. Citizens need more buttons, and they need them in a logical layout. Frustratingly, CIG is developing, and the keybinds never seem to be where they were, but there's help. Welcome to my overview of the GameGlass project. GameGlass is a second screen platform that can bring control out of the game and automate complex functions from a range of touchscreen devices. Through the use of a low latency two-way interface, you get correctly labeled buttons that are updated and programmed to perform the needed function. You won't need
Nice
to
to
remember
see you, buddy.
unlabeled keybinds on a joystick. The main reason I fell out of love with Power Grid was the lack of confirmation. When you pushed a function, it didn't always work unless you were super precise. In the heat of combat, your finger might slide and nothing would happen. GameGlass adds 3 features that address my original concern: haptic feedback support, an optional audio cue, and a subtle visual animation. Now you have that feedback that your request was received and sent. GameGlass was created by 2 Star Citizen fans, Craig and Andy. It started when Craig posted a teaser for the Star Citizen MFD called SC Pad in December of 2018. On the 17th of January 2019, with a new name and a team of 6, GameGlass was announced to the community along with their plans to support many other games. What they're proposing to build itself isn't very revolutionary, but the features that stand out to me are the types of things that they're trying to automate, plus that positive tactile feedback embedded directly into the interface. You can expect the regular ship controls easily laid out in apps called shards. The library of shards is going to expand to fill the needs. Character emotes, mining, salvage, ground vehicles, exploration, capital ship control, there really is no limit. GameGlass is going to evolve. Another proposed feature that caught my eye was automated camera controls, a feature that most of us don't actually use because it's complex. So in closing, I can quickly summarize the future of GameGlass. A real-world, immersive set of controls laid out in intuitive pages. The shards will be updated along with the development of Star Citizen, making it easier to get going if you're brand new, or perform better if you're a veteran pilot.
Does it work
The project's
on
on
the iPad?
Indiegogo with various tiers. They're already at 106% funded after 2 days, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't take a look. There are 2 links in the description. The first one will take you directly to the project, and the second one is a special link with rewards for the viewers. GameGlass has created a promotional link that gives you access to secret perks and extra discounts. Please go to their page where you can see their feature release video and the most current details about their plans. My goal today was to make the community aware of GameGlass so you can see what's being built and decide if you'd like to get involved. Thank you very much for spending your time with me. I plan to make quick videos in the future as the project evolves and features are added. Fly safe, and I'll see you in the verse.
Oh, GameGlass.
Hello, YouTubers. This is the Noobifier.
Noob stuffed us down a rabbit hole.
Hello, YouTubers. This is the Noobifier.
I think I'm gonna follow him down that one. For the GameGlass. Just see where it takes us. But he said he's gonna put the link. Here it is. Okay, here's the link to the GameGlass play. Bookmark it. Alright. That was it for the news. We're gonna play some games now. I think we're gonna go into Divinity 2. At the beginning of the second act, it's the Reaper's Coast is what it's called. Got a little map that I found. Looking at the map and trying to do some of the things that it says on the map. I gotta go and change the game description. Put the music on. We'll go into the gameplay. Alright, that should do it. Switching gears into the Divinity realm, hopefully. Hopefully I did it right. Alright, so this is the map. We're starting out down here in this area. I think there's some stores and stuff over this way. This bridge doesn't even exist right here. It switches on the other side. This bridge exists right here. Go over here. Alright, we'll give it a try. So how's the wise man today? Doing alright, champ? I just talked to that little girl last time I was on, and she didn't have anything I wanted.
Hello. Come back if you need. I'll be whittling away.
Yeah, she sold loots. But she was selling instruments.
Don't let them silence your song.
I do need to, I mean, it sounds kind of gross, but I gotta eat these body parts. Because my guy's an elf. Because he's an elf. He's got an ability to eat body parts and to experience the person's past through eating his body part. We're gonna eat some body parts. Make sure we still have that skill. Yeah, corpse eater. lets you eat body parts to access the memories of the dead. And yeah, that's what we're doing. Got a hand here, I gotta eat it.
From the dark, you stare up at the thin slivers of light visible between the floorboards. Shadows ripple across the slivers, accompanied by heavy footsteps, Magister footsteps. Wood creaks above your head. One of them has paused. Your breath catches in your throat as you wait for him to move along. A hatch is suddenly yanked open. Light floods you, blinding and accusatory. You hear only one gruffly barked word before the hands seize you. Gotcha!
Huh. Hey, I gotta go check on something. I think a fuse blew or something because the light went out. So hang on. Yeah, I did blow a fuse, so I gotta change it. My backup power should hold out. Alright, I popped new fuses in. Generator started. No longer running off of backup power, but we're running off of the generator outside going into the backup power. So even after I ran out of gas, I would have time to go put more gas in the generator and start it up because I got a backup like battery between the computers and the generator. Big ice storming machine. It finally knocked all the power out. Alright, so where was I? I live in the northern woods of Michigan. And we're getting pounded with ice right now. Not snow, ice. Like everything is getting frozen over and the power lines are snapping right now. It's a Michigan thing and probably a Canadian thing. It's something that Michigan shares with Canada that lots of the United States don't know about. Like all my roads right now are like an inch of ice with water literally on top of the ice. So it being ice isn't bad enough. There's like water on top of the ice. It sucks. Alright, we're gonna save it. Just because I don't know where I'm at. I know I haven't done anything stupid yet. So we can always go back to our save games. So as long as I save a lot, then I really can't screw up too bad. But sometimes I do play for like 40 minutes and then I realize that it's not what I wanted to do. These chickens look like they're gonna attack me. So if I grab my guy and pull him off to the side, he gets separated from the party so I can just move him by himself. Oh, there's nothing. Bucket of rotten eggs. I want rotten eggs. It's on my map, the chicken coop, but it doesn't let me really do anything when I click on it. Nothing. Oh yeah, we were eating body parts. Music's like skip. Skip the next song, skip. Okay, eating body parts. Let's eat the head now.
You twist your head around as the Magisters haul you away. Your wife and two boys stand in the doorway, helpless. You commit their faces to memory one last time.
Is the narrator in the game loud enough for you to hear it with the music? Do you want the narrator turned up more? Or is it good where it's at? I'm thinking about turning it up a little bit more.
Wendy cries out something to you. You tell yourself it was, "I love you," or "We'll wait for you." But the truth is, you didn't catch it. The farm recedes from view behind you.
Maybe I just gotta turn the music down. Let's try that. Then I can smash him back into the party, but he has to be close enough. So if they weren't next to each other, I can't smash them together. But when I smash them together, I can move them all at once. I just click on the ground and it moves. And you control the map. And move the map, not the player so much. You can move on the map and go anywhere, then just click and then you go there. Yeah, here's that one bridge. I wanted to check this out thoroughly. I'm looking for like treasure chests and stuff that might be hidden off onto the side here. Like here's a crate. See how I found this crate? Nothing in it. But it happens a lot. That's just poisonous fish. I scooped it up and I didn't really find a need for it. Maybe there's a non-PC right over here. Let me check and see what's over here. Nobody. All right, nobody there. I remember opening that. Yeah, so I guess it's time to go into that town. We'll give it a couple saves on the way there so we don't got a feeling I'll get into town and do some stuff that I probably won't like after we restart.
Ma, can you hear me? Come on, come on. You can find a way across, right? I know you can. Ma, can you hear me?
See no ladder. Inside anyway.
Ma,
Well,
can you hear
we
me?
could cross on that stone, but once we got over here, not really. And there's a big ugly spider over there too.
Looky here, Bugs.
Oh, I don't think I want to go that way. That's the chicken coop I already checked out. I think somewhere over here there was a bridge that was actually completed and I can cross it. Here it is. Alright. This is where we're going. Across this bridge. Oh, looks like there's some stuff here. Cards or something? Like the cards.
Get
Welcome
yourself
to
in check,
Drift.
boy. I won't have you running off like Millicent and Tully. You'll just end up sliding down some Voidwoken's gross gullet piece by piece.
The older-looking Magister notices your presence. He wipes his grubby hands downward across his greaves, as if to wipe away the grime, but instead smears more dirt onto them.
Port Elf, what word do you bring?
His face goes pale, and his eyes open wide. The Magister that greeted you remains stiff, as if enduring a harsh wind.
The Voidwoken come.
The Voidwoken.
Hush, Fader. You may pass, traveller. Dare say you'll be aching to leave before long anyway. But before you do, find Raymond, the White Magister. He'll want to know what you've seen. Be quick, mind. He's set to sail any moment.
He nods his head in the direction of the bridge, but offers no other instructions.
As long as you stay put, you'll be safe.
Are you sure? Them sorcerers from the caravan?
They'd be daft to come back. But as long as there's no sorcerers, there's no Voidwoken. You're fine as long as you don't go wandering.
Alright, we're in the town of Driftwood. Save it. Oh man, I think I want to steal that bedroll. Oh yeah.
Last time I was here, I summoned my wolf right in the tavern. All hell broke loose. Good times. Good times.
Wow, I won't let me pick that
wonder if
thing
they'll
up.
remember me.
Won't let me pick it up. Shit. Did I finally pick it up? Oh yeah, I got a bedroll. Now everybody's got a bedroll. Stole it.
As the Magister's eyes alight upon you, they widen until they are practically bulging out of their sockets. One tremulous finger rises from...
If Anne Ben Mez does our live...
One eye squints.
Oh, it's you, all right. It's definitely you. Your little tricks won't work on me, Ben Mez.
I'm gonna jangle my coin purse.
She considers your offer.
How much?
Then don't come over. Not like you're buying anything.
I'll offer a hefty price.
The Magister grabs the coin and looks around shiftily, then turns back to you.
Get out of here. And don't let me catch you again.
Save it. That was a successful bribe. Oh yeah. Alright, so music's like screwing things up. I'm gonna have to. We'll go to Pretzel for our music. Clicked on it.
Then don't come over. Not like you're buying anything.
I don't come visit your son. Who will?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Fucking in Pretzel. Alright, we're now listening to the Pretzel. Copyright free streamer service. I gotta reboot my chat bot here. Otherwise it'll interfere with the built-in one there. We should be good now. Some Vine thing here. Repair hammer, nice. Got a repair hammer. Ball hammer.
Boring.
Pear hammer. Cooking. That was a cooking station. That's a cooking station. I could cook food. Oh shit, I can. We can cook food in this game, I just don't know how. We'll have to look up some recipes and
There's a lot of
cook
call
all
for
the
junk
stuff
you sell, Ben.
I've been gathering.
Junk? Why, I offer nothing less than the wisdom of the ancients. And
You're safe among friends.
Vapid
Never
fiction,
forget it.
along with a large helping of ham.
Hear ye! Hear ye! Queen Justinia executes 24 noblemen for insubordination!
Not in any mood to talk about it.
Latest news! Fresh, many a latest, my friend. The war, the bishop, the queen. What tickles your fancy?
I'm gonna ask him about the war he mentioned.
Figured you'd ask me about that. Ain't looking too good for you, lizards. Word is, the Divine Order's gonna hit your empire and hit it hard. You remember what happened to the elves, don't you? Ain't no one left standing when you treat them to death, Frog. You're lucky to be so far from home, and no mistake.
Say you're interested in the faith of the bishop?
Seven save us. Stabbed in the back he was by them vile, low-born, treacherous seekers. Kill them all, I say. Do them like Magister Raymond did old Lady Siva. That'll teach them traitors. I mean, they doomed us all, didn't they? The Son of the Divine is dead. Gone. Who'll save us now?
I'm gonna ask him more about the queen.
Jolly Justinia, Queen of the Dwarves. Ha! Scourge, more like. Here's 20 or so noble gentlemen. No one knows what they did wrong, if anything, and she has them stripped and whipped all the way to the execution grounds. Didn't even give them the dignity of the sword, no sir. Had them all hung. Real slow like. You ask me, and I say she's mad as a mink with its tail on fire. Queen or no queen.
Alright.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Enjoy your freedom while you can, lizards. Your day's coming. Oh.
What the hell
When the
wrong
war
with
comes,
you?
I won't have it said that I fraternised with the enemy. So good day to you.
She's pretty mean.
Hell with her. I need those reports.
Thank the Divine, you're here to protect us.
Oh. Boat right there. Fishing poles.
That's it. The barrel
junk. What's this? I found something.
Okay, we're saving it. Oh yeah, we can dig that.
One must put in due effort if one is to reap the proper reward.
Look at that. Oh wow, look at this. Got treasure chests up here and stuff. Good find. I think there's something in here though. Midsection. Oh, look at that. I almost missed that little note. Alright. Anything on the side here? Oh man, there's a dead body. Alright, come on down. Now we're gonna save it again. Yeah, get my drink here. Gotta water, I gotta open up. Let me see this pretzel. I can like I got it labeled like different ambiances. Got rock, pop, chiptune, EDM, whatever the hell that is, ambient. Let's put on ambient. Maybe the ambient music will go better with this game, since the game's trying to talk to us. All right.
like you're buying anything.
They don't
Talk to this guy.
Who will?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Oh, we dwarves had a kingdom, and we...
The dwarf keeps singing his wistful tune, oblivious to your presence.
He's got nothing I really want. Could use my ranger and talk with these guys.
Heavens to Bessie, another one. More queer folk than commoners in Driftwood these days.
He's calling me a queer, huh?
Just look at you. Tame owl. Eyes of a wolf. You don't come from no farm, I can tell you that. Anyway, tavern's just down the road. Can't miss it. 'Cause that's where all the queer ones go. Clanking dwarves, dozy lizards. I even saw him drag a voidwoken down there in the dead of night. Don't know what's going on in that tavern, but it must be a freak show in there.
See what the other bulls got
Maybe
to
I'm
say.
glad I ain't pulling carts of stinking fish round no more. But what's a beast to do if not pull? How can a beast enjoy this when he's no notion of what his future holds? I'll be spooked till I'm securely hitched up again.
Now I have a point into like talking to animals on this character right here, which is my ranger. So that's why I'm able to talk to these bulls. These are red, so if I click on them, I can get caught for stealing. I don't want to get caught for stealing. This over here.
You too, Julian. Show him how it's done, man.
Hope you ain't looking for work in this dying town. Besides, you ain't got the look of a fisher about you, I'll tell you that much.
I don't want to fish.
That's it. The barrels and the chests. On the double.
But he does have
You too, Julian. Show him how it's done, man.
a lot of gold, so I think I'll try to sell him some
Don't let up now. Keep
stuff.
hauling that cargo.
Take that pile of gold from him.
That's it. The barrels and the chests. On the double. You too, Julian. Show him how it's done, man. Don't let up now. Keep hauling that cargo. That's it. The barrels and the chests. On the double. You too, Julian. Show him how it's done, man. Don't let up now. Keep hauling that cargo. That's it. The barrels and the chests. On the double. You too, Julian. Show him how it's done, man.
You too, Julian.
Don't let up now.
Show him how it's done.
That cargo.
Keep hauling that cargo. Shut the hell up.
That's it. The barrels
That's
and
it.
the chests. On the double.
That's it.
You too, Julian. Show him how it's done, man.
I was sick of hearing that guy.
Don't let up now. Keep hauling that cargo.
Keep hauling that cargo.
That's it. The barrels and the chests. On the double.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a lot of his money.
You too, Julian. Show
Leave
him how
him
it's
broke.
done, man.
Show 'em how it's done, man.
Don't let up now. Keep hauling
Don't let
that
up
cargo.
now.
That's
All right.
it. The barrels and the chests. On the double. You too, Julian. Show 'em how it's done, man.
They should have an option to not let them people repeat what they say.
That's it. The barrels and the chests. On the double. You too, Julian. Show 'em how it's done, man.
There we go.
Don't let up now. Keep hauling that cargo. That's it. The barrels and the chests. On the double.
I gotta get away from this guy.
You too, Julian. Show 'em how it's done, man.
They're making me crazy.
That cargo. That's it. The barrels and the chests. On the double. You too, Julian. Show 'em how it's done, man.
Shut up. You're Julian. Red.
I hope Joe doesn't smell when he comes back.
Keeping it together, Bree?
I'm all right.
Baskets.
As long as I don't think about it too
Thank
much.
the divine you're here to protect us.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Yes, yes, of course.
Hear ye! Hear ye! Queen Justinia executes 24 noblemen for insubordination!
Oh yeah, we found a necklace. Nice find.
Keeping it together, Bree?
I'm all right as long as I don't think about it too much.
Oh, I
You're
could do all
safe among
this too.
friends. Never forget it.
Poison fish. More poison.
Joe's mum smelled nice.
So I have an undead character, and he's gonna get all the poison fish because when he's poisoned, it heals
I'm
him.
all right as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends.
So this food might heal my undead guy, which is Fane, which has a human mask on right now, so he doesn't look like a skeleton. All that makes sense. Oh, interesting. Here, going to here, and here, and yeah.
One more time. Oh, I'm always the sorcerer.
This is going nowhere. Killed by sorcerers. A most
Get this too.
A valiant warrior against the void. This is going nowhere. Taken too early. All hopes destroyed.
The conclusion of a noble bloodline. Stew is good, if you think who shall rise? Who gains the title most divine?
You never know, you know, you talk to somebody and you could piss them off and then you wish you would have saved it. Before I talk to anybody, I usually save it.
An elf in tattered red robes shifts.
So many suspects. So many potential culprits. I need to narrow down the list. Think, you damn elf, think.
A floorboard creaks beneath your foot. The elf leaps around abruptly.
Huh. Let's see what he's got. Got a crazy good shield. I use a shield. Not that good like that one.
The Magister's caging anyone up that looks at him funny.
Damn right. I got a right to live, don't I?
That's 500 for a shield. Oh, he's got the magnifying glass mirror.
You on the arse.
A valiant warrior.
What? Why do you sneak up on me? Don't you know how dangerous that is, the way things are? Haven't you heard? My own Magister comrades are vanishing from right here in Driftwood. Whoever's behind it must be stopped. If you hear anything, come to me. Three Magisters vanished so far, all within Driftwood. My comrades believe some tinkerer named Higba is behind it all, but they're wrong. I'm certain of it.
Higba.
That's what I'm intent on finding out. This tavern is full of scum and degenerates. The true culprit could easily conceal themselves amongst them. I have to keep investigating, keep the pressure up. The culprit will make a mistake eventually. If you see anything suspicious, let me know. You do that. Now away with you. What is it? Unless you know something about the disappearances, leave me alone. I need to concentrate.
I'm gonna ask him why he cares about
I was
all this.
removed from their ranks due to my elven blood. I'll continue to serve, though. I won't stand to see my comrades taken by some vile traitor.
I'm gonna ask him about his loyalty to the Magistries.
The elf straightens to his full height, martial and unwavering.
I swore an oath. I won't turn my back on it. Not now, not ever.
I'm telling him that the Magistries aren't short on enemies and whoever's responsible might never be found.
What? And you think that's an excuse for me to stop trying? I'll never stop. Not until this matter is settled or I'm dead.
I'm gonna ask him if he made any progress.
The elf shrugs listlessly, his eyes scanning his omnipresent collection of notes.
Plenty of suspects. Plenty of maybes. Precious little progress, though. I'm still convinced that the tavern is key to all this, though.
Okay, I don't want to go in the tavern yet because I want to do some shopping. Because usually when you go in the taverns, there ends up being some kind of fight, and it changes the story. And I got looting and doing stuff out here for a little bit.
Taken too early. Hear ye! Queen Justinia executes 24 noblemen for insubordination.
Did I already loot that? Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I think I looted these ones. Oh, I did. Empty.
Divine order to march against the ancient
All right.
empire.
Prices are up, quality is down.
You
needing supplies? I'd stock up if I were you. It's madness out there. Never seen anything like it. Anything more?
Oh yeah, she's got nice. Lots of supplies here.
Alexander was slain by Seekers. Culprits still at large.
Smells worse over here than a
There's
dozen
a lot of
rotten
cold for the
eggs
junk you
dropped in a
sell,
vat
then.
of vinegar.
Junk? Why, I offer nothing less than the wisdom of the ancients, and...
If I don't
Vapid
come visit you,
fiction,
Tun,
along with a large
who
helping
will?
of ham.
Wouldn't you like to know?
Alright, so let me see here what I got.
Hear ye! Hear ye! Queen Justinia executes 2
I don't want to listen to them screaming in the background. Yeah. Bloodsucker.
Not in any mood to talk about it.
Like this mosquito one. Death Wish. I already know the shackles.
Divine order to march
That's
against
summoning.
the ancient empire.
Black Shroud.
Smells worse over here than a dozen
Raised
rotten
bloated
eggs dropped in a
corpse.
vat of vinegar.
Then don't come over. Not like you're buying anything.
If I don't come visit you, Tun, who will?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Hear ye! Hear ye! Bishop Alexander was slain by Seekers. Culprits still at large.
Grab that raised corpse one, I think.
How you holding up?
Not in any mood to talk about it.
Okay, and then for this guy, he's the summoner.
Hear ye! Hear ye! Queen Justinia executes 24 noblemen for insubordination.
Dominate mind. Door to Eternity skill book.
Smells worse over here than a dozen rotten eggs dropped in a vat of vinegar.
Then don't come over. Not like you're buying anything.
If I don't come visit you, Tun, who will?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Okay, Dimensional Bolt. It's like a range attack for my summoner. I already know this one.
Nothing good. The void woken are
I
everywhere.
already know that one.
Thank the divine you're here to protect us.
Queen Justinia executes
Power Infusion skill book.
Yes, yes, of course.
Smells worse over here than a dozen rotten eggs dropped in a vat of vinegar.
Then don't come over. It's not like you're buying anything.
Unlock Whirlwind and Rush for your Incarnate.
Wouldn't you like to know?
Joe's a good swimmer.
Unlock range attack for your Incarnate.
How you holding up?
Not in any mood to talk about it.
Bishop Alexander was slain by Seekers. Culprits still at large.
Soulmate. Find yourself to target character copying and healing
Your fish stinks of the void. What kind of rat would sell
or
such
armor restoration.
The kind that
You
don't fancy
received
starving,
them.
along with the rest of this town.
Clears frozen,
It's all well and good
stunned,
for you with your rations.
knocked down,
We've
and
got to take what we can
petrified.
get.
It clears a lot.
You'll end up eating sawdust from a cell floor.
I don't like that one because it clears a lot. Supercharge.
How you holding up?
Not in any mood to talk about it.
Elemental totem.
Tell me, have you heard any news?
Nothing good.
Totem.
Woken are everywhere. Thank the divine you're here to protect us.
I gotta thin this out a little bit. Want to keep that one. Power infusing. I don't like both those.
How you holding up?
I like all those.
Not in any mood to talk
They're
about
probably expensive.
Your fish stinks of the void. What kind of
This is the
rat
guy
would
that'll
sell
pay
such-
for him, and the price should change for him. Yeah, it goes down.
Along with the rest of this town.
Alright,
Well
so
and good for you with your rations.
get my books here.
Gotta take what we can get.
Keep talking, dwarf, and you'll end up eating sawdust from a cell floor.
Smells worse over here than a dozen rotten eggs dropped in a vat of vinegar.
Then don't
That's a
come
good
over.
one.
It's not like you're buying anything.
That's
I
a
don't
good
come visit your ton. Who will?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Hear ye! Hear ye! Divine order to march against the ancient empire!
Joe's a good swimmer.
See, restoration. I think I do want that. Winter Blast.
I miss Joe.
Tell me, have you heard any news?
Nothing good. The void woken are everywhere.
Alright.
Thank the divine you're here to protect us.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Got arrow shafts too.
Not in any mood to talk about it.
Hear ye! Hear ye! Queen Justinia executes 24 noblemen for insubordination!
Joe's
Okay.
Smells worse over here
6,000.
than a dozen rotten eggs dropped in a vat of vinegar.
Then don't come over. Not like you're buying anything.
If I don't
Well,
come
that's a
visit
lot of
you,
money.
Tug, who will?
Wouldn't you like to know?
I hope Joe doesn't smell when he comes back.
How you holding up?
Not in any
I
mood to
gotta
talk
give
about
this
it.
guy some money.
Your fish stinks of the void. What kind of rat would sell such filth?
Oh man.
The kind that don't fancy starving, along with the rest of this town.
Not gonna have it.
Well and good for you with your rations. We've got to take what we can get.
Well, that sucks.
Until later then.
Now I gotta do
Keeping it
this.
together, Bree.
Move that money to that character.
I'm alright, as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
I gotta have him buy because he's got what's called the bartering skill, which is
Keeping it together, Bree.
I'm alright, as long as I don't think about it
this
too
guy
much.
right here. He's got 5 in
You're safe
bartering,
among friends. Never forget it.
so he gets the better price.
You needing supplies? I'd stock up if I had anything more.
Been trying to buy from you for an hour.
How you holding up?
Not
But
in any mood to talk
process is complicated.
Divine order to march against the ancient empire!
The water looks nice.
I'll just try to remember what I had. You know what? I think I like this bloodsucker.
I hope Joe doesn't smell when he comes back.
Hear ye! Hear ye! Queen Justinia executes 24 noblemen for insubordination!
Smells worse over here than a dozen rotten eggs dropped in a vat of vinegar.
Then don't come over.
Dozen eggs dropped in a vat of vinegar.
If I don't come visit you, Tug,
Oh.
who will?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Hear ye! Hear ye! Divine order to march against the ancient empire!
Okay.
How you holding up?
Not in any mood to talk about it.
Yep, I like that demonic bolt. Already got that one.
Bishop Alexander was slain by singers. Culprits still
I believe if I click on this guy, he's already got that one. No.
Smells worse over here than a dozen rotten eggs dropped in a vat of vinegar.
Then don't come over. Not like you're buying anything.
Have you heard any news?
If I don't come visit you, Ton,
Nothing good.
who
Boys
will?
woken her everywhere.
Wouldn't you like to
Thank
know?
the divine you're here to protect us.
Queen Justinia executes
Yes, of course.
Set shadow infusion.
Not in any mood to talk about it.
Your fish stinks of the void. What kind of rat would sell such filth?
The kind that don't fancy starving along with the rest of this town. It's all well and good for you.
Target the ground surface. Yep, that's the one.
Keep talking to
And
us and
then,
you'll end up making sawdust from a cell floor.
Bishop Alexander was slain by Seekers.
How you holding up?
Not in any mood to talk about it.
Alright. Let's buy the...
Executes 24 noblemen for instance.
Smells worse over here than a dozen rotten eggs dropped in a vat of vinegar.
Then don't come over. Not like you're buying anything.
Okay, I bought that.
If I don't come visit you, Ton, who will?
Until later then.
Keeping it together, Bree?
I'm alright, as long as I don't think about it too much.
So the necro books go to my
You're safe
lizard.
among friends. Never forget it.
Restoration scroll. I think it's gonna stay on. Yeah, it's gonna stay on the main character.
Not in any mood to talk about it.
Along with all the summoning books. And then the rest of these higher up water spells are gonna go on to the ranger. They're already in his book.
Keeping it together, Bree?
I'm alright, as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Hear ye! Hear ye! Queen Justinia executes 2
Keeping it together, Bree?
for insubordination.
I'm alright, as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Alright, we're gonna learn these.
How you holding up?
And now,
Not in any mood to talk about it.
he's gonna learn these summoning spells.
Divine order to march against the ancient empire.
Keeping it together, Bree?
And he's got a water spell to
I'm
learn.
alright, as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
And then we got a few necro spells learned over here.
Smells worse over here than a dozen rotten eggs dropped in a vat of vinegar.
Then don't come over.
He's got some more corpse parts to eat. I forgot I was
You remember
in the
a
middle of eating
cold
people.
childhood in a no-hope fishing town, bullied mercilessly by a dwarf named Lohar. With no other prospects, you sign up as a magister, eager for the power denied you all your life.
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much.
Yep,
You're
we're
safe
eating
among
bodies.
friends. Never forget it.
Oh, we got a nice head here.
Warm red wine flows down your throat. The languor of a tavern evening soothes you. Suddenly, shrieks rend the night. The magisters have come. Warm red blood flows down your face.
You needing supplies? Until later then.
Oh no, I was eating body parts. Aye, more body parts.
Collared by magisters in the far north, you were force-marched to this foreign land. A moment of hope as a grinning dwarf removes your source collar. Seconds later, void-woken death.
God knows what'd stop those beasts.
Cold steel it is, then.
Smells worse over here than a dozen rotten eggs.
Oh, there's an iron.
Work, work, work. That's all there was in Driftwood for a dwarf like you. Until you got involved in the anti-magister resistance. Then, the work was still there, but also purpose. Purpose worth dying for.
Have you anything that will protect against Voidwoken?
Got a leg.
You stride past the chained sorcerers and climb onto the caravan without complaint. As you settle onto the bench, you offer Ralik's blessings to the Magister Guard. He offers, after all. Don't they know they're going to be saved?
Two-handed axe. What the heck? 29 to 35 physical damage.
Keeping it together, Bree.
Are you
I'm all right,
serious?
as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends.
That's
Never
a hell of an
forget it.
upgrade. Wow. That's some
Keeping it
good
together,
shit there.
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it. How you holding up?
Not in any mood to talk about it.
Hear ye! Hear ye!
These are both the same weapon, or?
For the junk you sell.
No, they're not.
Why, I offer
One's
nothing less
got
than the wisdom of the ancients.
Constitution, plus one two-handed.
Along with a large helping of ham.
Holy crap. Set frozen 10%.
Keeping it together, Bree.
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
I think this one right here is the better one.
Smells worse over here than a dozen rotten eggs dropped in a vat of vinegar.
Then don't come over. Not like you're buying anything.
If I don't come visit your ton, who will?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Okay, we got a corpse piece.
Eloisa was the prettiest girl, not to others, but to you. Her lumin...
Want to hear about it?
Have you anything that will protect against Voidwoken?
I can turn aside fire, cold and poison. But Voidwoken? God knows what'd stop those beasts.
Cold steel it is, then.
Hear ye!
Keeping it together, Bree?
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it. Smells worse over here than a dozen rotten eggs dropped in a vat of vinegar.
Then don't come over. Not like you're buying anything.
There's a lot of call for the junk you sell, then.
I don't come visit your ton. Who will?
I'll be right back. Hey, I get a snack real quick.
Queen Justinia executes
fiction, along with a large helping of ham.
Keeping it together, Bree?
I'm all
Right
right,
back.
as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it. How you holding up?
Not in any mood to talk about it.
Hear ye! Divine order to march against the ancient empire!
Keeping it together, Bree?
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Bishop Alexander was slain by Seekers. Culprits still at large.
Smells worse over here than a dozen rotten eggs dropped in a vat of vinegar.
Then don't come over. Not like you're buying anything.
If I don't come visit your ton, who will?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Keeping it together, Bree?
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Divine order to march against the ancient empire!
Keeping it together, Bree?
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Keeping it together, Bree?
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Starving, along with the rest of this town. It's all well and good for you with your rations. We've got to take what we can get.
Keep talking, dwarf, and you'll end up eating sawdust from a cell floor.
How you holding up?
Not in any mood to talk about it.
Hear ye! Hear ye! Queen Justinia executes 24 noblemen for insubordination!
Keeping it together, Bree?
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it. Smells worse over here than a dozen rotten eggs dropped in a vat of vinegar.
Divine order to march against the ancient
Don't
empire!
come over. Not like you're buying anything.
If I don't come visit your ton, who will?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Keeping it together, Bree?
I'm all right as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Hear ye! Bishop Alexander was slain by Seekers. Culprit still at large.
How you holding up?
Not in any mood to talk about it.
Your fish stinks of the void. What kind of rat would sell such filth?
The kind that don't fancy starving, along with the rest of this town.
Hear ye! Hear
It's
ye!
all well and good for you.
Queen
with your
Justinia
rations. We've
executes
got to take what we
2
can
dozen
get.
noblemen for
Keeping it together, Bree?
Sawdust from a cell floor.
I'm all right as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Alright, I'm back. I got a couple snacks. Yeah, here we go.
Smells worse
Go to the
over
next
here
vendor.
than a dozen rotten eggs dropped in a vat of vinegar.
Latest news! Fresh from the War Owl! Hear all about it! Many a latest, my friend. The war, the bishop, the queen. What tickles your fancy?
I'm all right as long as I don't think about it too much.
Ain't looking too good for them lizards. Word is, they don't need to tell you of all people them Hear ye! Hear
We already
ye!
talked to him.
Divine order to march against the
Good day to you.
How you holding up?
Not in any mood to talk about it.
Got nothing.
Tell me.
Wars are brewing, my friend, and we may find ourselves on different sides, in which case prices will go up. Buy now while you still can.
Alright.
Hear ye! Bishop Alexander
together,
was slain by Seekers.
I'm all right as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it. Smells worse over here than a dozen rotten eggs dropped in a vat of vinegar.
Then don't come over. Not like you're buying anything.
If I don't come visit your ton, who will?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Executes 2 dozen noblemen for insubordination.
Keeping it together, Bree?
I'm all right as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Surrounded by his company. Deserve a better place.
Hear ye! Hear ye! Divine order to march against the ancient empire!
Keeping it together, Bree?
I'm all right as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Hear ye! Hear ye! Bishop Alexander was slain by Seekers! Culprit
Smells worse over here than a dozen rotten eggs dropped in a vat of vinegar.
Then don't come over. Not like you're buying anything.
If I don't come visit your ton, who will?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Keeping it together, Bree?
I'm all right as long as I don't think about it too much.
Hear ye! Queen Justinia
You're safe among
executes
friends.
2 dozen
Never
noblemen
forget it.
for insubordination!
Nelson, my inkwell is dry. Fetch me some more.
order to march against the ancient empire!
Keeping it together, Bree.
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Hear ye!
Keeping it together,
Hear
Bree.
ye! Bishop
I'm all right,
Alexander
as long
was
as I don't
slain
think about
by
it too much.
Singers!
You're
Culprits
safe among
at large!
friends. Never forget it.
My inkwell is dry. Fetch me some more.
Hear ye! Hear ye! Queen Justinia executes 24 noblemen for insubordination!
Keeping it together, Bree.
I'm gonna go with the barrage.
Don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it. Smells worse over here than a dozen rotten eggs dropped in a vat of vinegar.
Then don't come over. Not like you're buying anything.
If I don't come visit your ton, who will?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Keeping it together, Bree.
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Hear ye! Hear ye! Bishop Alexander was slain by Singers! Culprits still at large!
Surrounded by incompetence. I deserve a better post. Elson, my inkwell is dry. Fetch me some more.
Keeping it together, Bree.
Hear ye!
I'm all right, as long as I
ye!
don't think about it too
Queen
much.
Justinia
You're
executes
safe among
24
friends.
noblemen
Never forget
for
it.
insubordination!
Yeah, the provoke skill, I needed that.
Keeping it together, Bree.
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much.
Disappearances. My career is at
You're
stake.
safe among friends. Never forget it.
Hear ye! Hear ye! Divine order to march against the ancient empire!
Surrounded by incompetence. I deserve a better post.
Hear ye!
Keeping it together,
Hear
Bree.
ye!
I'm
Bishop
all right, as long
Alexander
as I
was
don't think about
slain
it too
by
much.
Singers!
You're safe
Culprits
among
still at
friends.
large!
Never forget it. Smells worse over here than a dozen rotten eggs dropped in a vat of vinegar.
Then don't come over. Not like you're buying anything.
If I don't come visit your ton, who will?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Hear ye! Queen Justinia executes 24 noblemen for
Keeping it
insubordination!
together, Bree.
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Alright, I'll equip these books.
Keeping it together, Bree.
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Hear ye! Hear ye! Bishop Alexander was slain by Seekers. Culprits still at large.
Tell me, have you heard any news?
Keeping it together, Bree.
Nothing good.
I'm
The
all
Void
right,
Woken are
as
everywhere.
long as I don't think about it too much.
Thank the
You're safe
Divine
among
you're
friends.
here to protect us.
Never forget it.
Yes, of course.
Hear ye! Hear ye! Queen Justinia executes 24 noblemen for insubordination.
Your fish stinks of the void. What kind of rat would sell such filth?
The kind that don't fancy starving, along with the rest of this town. It's all well and good for you with your rations. We've got to take what we can get.
Keep talking, dwarf, and you'll end up eating sawdust from a cell floor.
Keeping it together, Bree.
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it. How you holding up?
Not in any mood to talk about it.
Hear ye! Hear ye! Bishop Alexander was slain by Seekers. Culprits still at large.
Alright, let's find the next person to talk to.
Well, hello, stranger. You look down at the cart and see fish with flaking scales, tumours, and, in one case, 3 heads.
3 heads. Oh.
As you will, chump.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Prices are up. Quality is down.
Have you heard any news?
Back off. Locals first. You want to make war, you
Got
need
underwear
to
for sale?
Keeping it together, Bree.
Yes,
I'm all
yes,
right,
of course.
as long as
My
I don't
word, but you do look exhausted. I bet you
You're
could
safe
use a
among
touch of
friends. Never forget it.
Hmm. Yes.
How you holding up?
Not in any mood to talk about it.
Tell me, have you heard any news?
Nothing good. The Void Woken are everywhere. Thank the Divine you're here to protect us.
Yes, of course.
Keeping it together, Bree.
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Yep. My word, but you do look exhausted. Have at it. Got yourself situated.
Keeping it together, Bree.
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Alright, so I need to get some of these. Chicken spell.
How you holding up?
Summon oily blob.
Any mood to talk about it.
Spider legs was. Skin grafts, I can see that.
Smells worse over here than a dozen rotten eggs dropped in a vat of vinegar.
Then don't come over. Not like you're buying anything.
If I don't come visit your ton, who will?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Keeping it together, Bree?
I'm all right as
I
long
guess
as I
I
don't
think
think about
that's
it
what
too
I need
much.
here.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
But these Geomancer.
Smells worse over here
Sure,
than a
okay.
dozen
Eat
rotten
any.
eggs dropped in a vat of vinegar.
Then don't come over. Not like you're buying anything.
If I don't come visit your ton, who will?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Keeping it together, Bree?
I'm all right as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Uncanny evasion. Favorable.
Not in any mood to talk about it.
Static discharge. Teleportation. Definitely.
Smells worse over here than a dozen rotten eggs dropped in a vat of vinegar.
Then don't come over. Not like you're buying anything.
If I don't come visit your ton, who will?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Keeping it
Okay.
together, Bree?
I'm all right as long
Your
as I don't
fish
think
sticks
about
in
it
the
too
forge.
much.
What kind of rat would sell such filth?
You're safe among friends. Never
Kind
forget
that
it.
don't fancy starving, along with the rest of this town. It's all well and good for you.
The only thing I
and
really
your
need to do is pick up some rogue skills now.
Keep talking, dwarf, and you'll end up eating sawdust from a cell floor.
Ah.
Not in any mood to talk about it.
Yep.
Okay, now I need to equip these books. Get them on the right character. These are polymorphs. These are all for my rogue.
I'm all right as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among
My
friends.
rogue's a
Never
polymorph
forget
expert.
Smells worse over here than a dozen rotten eggs dropped in a vat of
Teleport.
vinegar.
It's for my main
Then
guy.
don't come over. Not like you're buying anything.
If I don't come visit your ton, who will?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Okay.
Keeping it together, Bree?
I'm all right as long as I don't think about it too
These
much.
air spells
You're
are
safe
gonna
among
be for,
friends. Never forget it.
he already knows the spell.
Divine order to march against the ancient empire!
How you holding up?
Not in any mood to talk about it.
Oh. Did I seriously buy 2 spells I didn't need to buy? Oh, we'll find out. Right.
Keeping it together, Bree?
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much.
Teleportation.
You're safe among friends.
There we
Never
go.
forget it.
Where's the other book?
Smells worse over here than a dozen rotten eggs dropped in a vat of vinegar.
Then don't
Polymorph.
come over. Not like you're buying anything.
If I don't come visit your ton, who will?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Gotta raise our polymorph
Keeping it
up to
together,
3.
Bree?
I'm all right, as long as I don't think about it too much.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Have you anything that will protect against Voidwake?
Alright, so what I did is I came to this new spot, I found the town, I bought a bunch of new skills. So the next time we play, we'll actually go out and like fight and stuff like that. We're gonna find somebody to host right now. And then we'll pick up this game next time I'm on, which will probably be, if not this weekend, for sure on my 2 scheduled days, which are Wednesday and Thursday early morning.
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
We're gonna raid Time of Chaos.
Smells worse over here than a dozen
I like
rotten
him, he's a
eggs
good
dropped in a
streamer.
vat
You
of
guys will like
vinegar.
him.
Then don't come
Everybody
over.
have a good
Not
night.
like you're buying anything.
If I
Gotta
don't
take
come
you
visit your
to
ton,
Time of
who will?
Chaos.
Wouldn't you like to know?
He's playing Star Citizen.
Keeping it together, Bree?
I'm all right.
Alright, good night, guys. Thanks for following and all that
You're
good
safe
stuff.
among friends. Never
Hello,
forget.
Flo. Your rocket science. A Don Swift arm. Yeah, most welcome. Terribly alarmed
How
here.
you holding up?
Hang out 3.
Not in any mood to talk about it.
Hey, Twister.